And we are live. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Hello, internet. This is the thing for grip. So this is Sam, so that Sam can watch this later too.
Hi, Sam.
And anybody else who wants to. Also, Austin, you can pipe in if you want to too, and join the conversation. So we're here to talk about code generation in grip.
Yeah, we are.
Oh my god. So, you two had a presentation prepared.
Wait, before we do the presentation,
There is no presentation.
it doesn't exist. I would just like to suggest that what would be good to have at the end of this extremely well planned out meeting is that we have a plan. We've got beta test for the FRC control system is starting at the end of September. There are 90 teams beta testing, 30 for each language. So at least 60 teams would be candidates to try out grip. And we give them instructions of things to do as part of the beta test. And we can instruct them to try grip. And in fact, we can instruct them to try grip with code generation. And so we can get a lot of testing.
Yes.
So my thought was it would be really a shame to not have grip ready to be tested at the end of the month, at the end of September, because then we would miss that whole opportunity to have people, really, kind of being asked to, be given specific assignments to pound on it and try and find things that are wrong with it. So I'm hoping that we can find a way of getting past any concerns which are most objectionable and getting some sample stuff done and getting it wrapped up by a month from now.
Yes.
And so I think that's sort of the goal of this, is to get it to that state.
I agree.
And so maybe if there are things that everybody agrees need to be fixed between now and then, we can kind of parcel those out and get them done. It would also be good to have some good samples so that when code gets generated from grip, there's some sample programs there, so somebody could say, oh, here's how I actually make this work, like how to connect it to a camera and how to connect it to something on the other end, like how to connect it to your robot program, or how to connect it to the output to network tables if you're running on the laptop or something, and how to get it to build with OpenCV.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to see as a result of this.
So what is the current status of getting it testing and running tests on different platforms?
Well, Brad says he fixed the script that allows stuff to be published from Jenkins.
Yeah, it'll be fixed. It should be fixed momentarily. Now I have this all working. I just have to go copy in some SSH credentials.
Good.
And then I'll be able to copy stuff onto there.
Once that's good, we should be able to pretty quickly get that up.
Except for the fact that we're going to have to change build.gradle, so this.
Huh?
Yeah.
What? What do you mean you're gonna have to change build.gradle?
Only the parts that affect code generation testing, not it itself.
Can you put that stuff in its own file, and import it into, because Gradle supports importing from other files, right?
Yeah, probably.
Just a thought. If there is a very concise bit of Gradle code, if you have a lot of Gradle code that you're adding, and there's
Well, a lot of it's already in there and probably should get taken out. There's no sense in order to it.
right. I think that it probably a bit of our build could be, but
Yeah.
that's a project for another day. Let's see. So there's that. So the testing. You have it running on Travis.
Well, we don't have it running there yet because we need some way that Travis isn't trying to build the binaries itself because it takes way too long. Which is why we're waiting on that to be fixed.
Yeah.
And then Gradle's going to have to be changed to download it from there and a couple other
Yeah, that's
tweaks
stuff
like that.
we should be able to get working pretty soon. I don't think there's that much that we need to discuss on that.
There's not much we need to discuss. It'll be a bit of a pain, but it's doable.
Okay. So have you guys tried out grip code generation with a built? So like I know you can run it through your IDEs, right? You can run it through Gradle. Yes.
Yeah.
Code generation. Tried running code generation from within a bundled and installed version of grip.
Yeah.
So you've run the installer on your
Right, I've
computer.
run the installer, generated, it works fine now. Didn't originally know to fix it.
So what happens if you don't have? So what do you need to do to get OpenCV installed on your machine?
So what it will be is we'll have a link to where people can download the zip appropriate for their operating system for the main ones group supports. But currently, since we don't have Jenkins or we don't have it up on the server right now, you'd have to build it yourself, which would be a pain. But as far as code generation is concerned, from the I want to be able to generate code, that works without OpenCV. It's just you can't run the code without OpenCV.
So you want to add installers into grip that you can like you can pull a drop down on grip and say install OpenCV on my system and it'll automatically install OpenCV on your system.
I would not. I don't think that's. I feel like that's just for or code generation. And it's not really relevant for us.
Okay.
Great. It's
Just a thought.
Yeah, it just adds a bit of complication. I'd rather just put that in the documentation.
Here's how to do it.
Because you're not required to use our version of OpenCV that we built. You can use any version.
Really, the bindings don't change?
Well, they changed like from 2.0 to 3.1 a bit probably, but they should still work with various versions. Because a lot of it was done on 3.0 before we realized we should use 3.1. But also, remember, we're just distributing source code, so you could build it with a different compiler or whatever, and it should work as long as you're consistent.
Right.
Because at least for C++, we in effect are requiring that you use the same compiler that we use, which we basically use the standard one for all systems, so it shouldn't be too difficult, but otherwise it won't work.
Okay. Are we doing anything, Brad, with the same thing that that Robot Builder does? Robot Builder does the thing where you can like make changes to your code by hand and you can reprint it and you're not doing that.
We basically the idea is that they don't have to touch that code, and if they want to modify that code, then
They do so at their own peril.
yeah, basically.
Because it doesn't actually do like special comments or anything, so it changes sections. It's just if you rerun the exporter, it overrides the file.
I mean, you can to a certain extent you can do that manually if you generate a new file with some new operations.
But presumably you subclass it to add input and output stuff.
What?
If you want.
So the idea-
it has input and output stuff, but to add specific stuff, you want to do a different one.
What's got a method for getting input and a method for getting output?
Right, yeah.
So, and you subclass it to add your stuff to those.
Right, if you
Features
just
that.
want to have one self-contained thing, that's a great way to do it.
Well, that way you don't have to add it to a class that gets generated.
Right, yeah.
It generates a class that has a method that runs the pipeline and then two other methods, one of them to supply input images and one to get the.
Well, more than two.
Wait, is this in Python too? You subclass it?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah, why don't you explain how you use it?
I mean, I can show you some generated code too.
Can you pull that? Can you do that on your? Can you do that on the Hangouts online on air? Pull up Gitter, open the link.
Yeah, I guess.
Can you get a look good to me on 646?
Not right now.
We're live from Brad's office. Cool. Didn't realize that, bro. Didn't realize it had Brad's office as the location.
Oh yeah, lower third.
Oh yeah, because you're not using Chrome, so it doesn't just work.
Why do they use Chrome?
It just works.
No one should ever.
Yeah, it also has beautiful memory loops.
And sandboxing.
We're getting off topic.
No, we're procrastinating, waiting for you to be ready.
Okay, go back to the, hang on, so get back to the, I'm gonna get back to there. Allow, top right corner. Not block plugin, allow plugin, allow and remember, Okay,
Well, you only need to allow if you're interested.
agree. Okay, join. Okay, now, share screen. Desktop. And now, pull up whatever you want to share.
Alright,
Preferably not its feed itself, because that would be pretty interesting.
Alright, you're live.
Live from Brad's office. On
No one
Tuesday.
left, right? Yeah, it's live from Toby's computer.
Live at a new location.
Yes.
Doesn't actually say Toby's computer. So.
No.
Oh, you're not actually screen sharing right now, though.
Oh, is he not? Oh, you need to allow screen sharing.
because I'm screen sharing.
Get that.
Left.
Say you're presenting. Why use Chrome? Hit the screen share button again. Yeah, that.
Look, just move the camera to
Toby's screen.
pointing on his screen.
Do you want to just use your screen?
No.
Who's using Chrome?
Don't use Chrome.
I mean, I have Chrome on here.
Can you pull it up in Chrome? It'll be much easier and it'll actually work.
I mean,
What
or
I'm
I
saying
can,
is
I mean, I
Google
can
doesn't
just explain
develop
it. We don't,
software that
we don't
actually
have to
works
on there.
What?
Browsers.
Yeah, I want to show it to Sam.
It's not that, it's not that complicated. I think Sam's seen it before.
Oh, Chrome, damn it.
It's fine.
No.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
It doesn't really matter that much, but just get this waste of oxygen.
Oh, you're live now. I got it. Show in broadcast. There we go. You're now live.
See, it wasn't his fault. It was yours, Jonathan.
I'm just gonna open all of them. So these are, this is, this is just like the most recent things that I've generated and put here. I don't even know what any of these do actually, but basically, we'll start with Java because it's the easiest. Everyone has the most experience with it. So basically, it creates this, has comments. It create this pipeline class as its structure, comments. And so the main things to put in are these, so they set sources. So this pipeline has one source, so you can set source 0, and it's a map. And then if you run your process, it'll take that map, it'll do whatever your operations were. In this case, it was a blur. It was just one blur, your entire process. And it creates this blur operation down here that it calls. And then when you want to get your output, you call the blur or 0 outputs.
As in the 0th blur's 0th output.
Yeah, and I have, let's see if I can
Joby, go through the whole process of generating a pipeline.
So wait, why don't you pass the input into the? Why don't you pass the input mat into the process method and get the output mat as the output of the process method?
Because you're assuming there's only one.
So there's, you can have any, so like, let's say, just dragging some random stuff.
You have like a 10-step pipeline that has
Let's
10
say-
inputs.
You have like, let's say this or something.
Yeah.
So these are connected, and so, and you can actually add sources, you'll basically just ignore them, but,
Not per se ignore them, it just
doesn't really do much.
It
So let's
sends
say,
them to
so
your
with
source.
this,
Yeah.
the sources will be this input here and this contours here, because there's nothing connected into the contours. So that's a source step.
Okay.
So I can leave it empty. And then the outputs that
Is it
you
on
can
your
get,
screen?
you can get outputs
Yeah,
from
it's-
any of these.
It's being shared up
Can you
here.
put it on there?
So if we go through and generate this through Java, so this is Java, you can name it whatever you want, and I'm just going to put it in the same place the other one is. This. And if I go over here, here we go. So now it's just updated it. So now it's a new pipeline. And so this pipeline, it has the blur, the desaturate, and the filter contours. The filter contours, it sets all of the values to whatever you wanted them to be, and then it calls this filter contours method, which is down at the bottom. It does the same for all the others. And up here, so you can set source 0 and you can set source 1. And so this is the first one. You can see is used here. The second one is used here. When you get your outputs, it does them by name. So you can get the output from the saturate, the blur, or the filter contours. And if there are multiple filter contours, then it numbers them. If a method has multiple outputs, then it numbers those as well. So in this case, there's only one of each, and they all have one. And so you can get any of these outputs, even if they're connected as something else. And then down here, it generates the code for whichever ones that you're using. And so, I mean, theoretically, if a team wanted to, they could generate this. Let's say they just want to use this filter contours, they wouldn't necessarily have to use all the generated code. They could just use this filter contours and put that in their code as well. That's not the main purpose, but it can be helpful as well. And it has generated comments as well. I saw your comment with putting it in as socket hints and all that, and we can probably do that. It'll take a bit of time to go through and do it for everything, but
Well, I mean, it would move it out of the Python code and out of the C++ code and out of the Java code and move it into one centralized location.
yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We didn't do it the first time.
Right.
It's probably not the smartest.
Can we make these, I know that in some languages you can't make these private final classes, but if you make these, so that is there only one class that's generated, or are there multiple classes that are generated?
One class.
You make this class final?
but someone might want to create a subclass of it.
Why?
Because let's say you want that generated code and you know you're going to be updating it, but you want to have a particular way you set outputs or set inputs and get outputs and do something special with them.
Yeah, but where does it get its images? Where does this one get its? Where does it get its images?
It's just a file by itself. It doesn't. You have to give it the image you want it to run.
Yeah, and how do you give it the images?
You have to do
I mean, it depends on the language. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
yeah,
But
it
like,
does, but it also depends
so
on
we'll have
what
example
format.
code that'll show people how to do that.
But what do you do basically? What do you see? So I have an image. How do I give it to those?
You have to use OpenCV's image reading
Yeah.
capability to read the image as a mat. And once you read it as a mat, you can
You
pass it in as the input.
Yeah, you set the source to that.
Yeah, you set the source.
Okay. By calling the
Set source.
set source method that gets generated.
So
So
and
you-
then for getting the output, you just use the get output.
And so there's no reason to ever edit the code.
That's the idea. Yeah.
There's no reason you will ever be required to.
So then why do you need to be able to extend these classes? Wouldn't you want to inherit? Wouldn't you want to? Wouldn't you want to? Why would you want to? Why would you want to extend these classes? Wouldn't you want to make it so that you couldn't extend these classes? Because then,
Why should
restrict it?
they be able to?
well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Everybody, the biggest complaint we've always had with the libraries is that there were too many things that were private. And that they want to subclass something that we never thought of, and then they can't do it.
But this is also code that can be edited. So if they
Yeah, we
Don't
don't
wanna-
want it, you do not want to edit this code.
Okay.
Because if you change the pipeline, if you change anything, you change a parameter and you regenerate it, then you lose your edits.
Yeah.
Right. So subclassing. I don't see what subclassing gives you that you would not get through composition.
It may be nothing, but what if you want it?
Well, no. What?
Just because you don't see it doesn't mean that, you know,
No,
some.
no.
Oh no, I know, but I'm trying to
So
think.
also users can like if they want to make this like final thing here. I don't know. I don't
What
think
do
it's
they
like
gain from making final, John?
I'm just trying to think. So, because final classes are easier to if you change. You can change the API later, and you don't have to deal with people having extended the class. So.
Right, but they're still calling it, so it would still fail.
Right.
I think
So you don't really gain anything.
this is a detail that's not really worth
Yeah.
having a huge discussion over.
All right. I'm just trying to think about forwards and I'm thinking about forwards compatibility and changes to code. I don't know if there's any. I don't know. Okay.
Do you want to look at Python and C++ as well?
Sure.
Alright.
Put your screen back up again.
Oh, we're just gonna point the camera at the screen and talk.
Yeah, you're up.
Alright, so Python, I mean, it's a pretty similar thing to the Java code, except in Python, you set your sources, it has the same process method, and you can just get your outputs.
Why does this one have parentheses around it?
Because it's following the same formatting for when there's multiple outputs.
Oh, yeah.
If there's multiple outputs, you need those. And if there's just one, it doesn't fail if you have them.
Oh, okay. So is this so that's a tuple that's getting returned?
Effectively, yeah.
Okay. Are we?
It's tuple with one element, but
Okay.
And some of them.
occasionally it has multiple. Like for get mat info,
Yeah, here
it has like
generate
7 or 8 elements or something. That was not what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay. That makes sense.
I also didn't generate new Python. Generate some Python. Alright, so now it's updated. So like this one has get mat info. So as you can see here, it does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you generating Python 3 or Python 2 code?
3. 3.5.2 is
I'm pretty sure it works with all three.
What does
well, it probably works for all 3. I just
what
know
is
that's
Peter
we
using?
tested
What
on.
version of Python is Peter using?
Peter who?
Johnson.
For
Peter
Robot Pi.
That's not Peter Johnson, but they're
That's
using
not Peter
3.
Johnson?
No.
Who
They're
writes
using,
it?
I believe they're using 3.
it's, I should make Peter Johnson. I think it's Dustin.
Okay. But what
Either
version
way,
are they using?
they're using 3.5. We checked with them. They're originally going to do both, and then they're like, yeah, Robot Pi is only version 3.5, so why do 2 versions?
And then for C++, it creates 2 files,
Mm-hmm.
the .h and the .cpp, which creates the library basically. The .h is relatively small, and then most of the code is in the .c.
I love Python or C++.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, there was some annoying stuff with pointers in C++, but and if we resolve
Pointers
most of
are beautiful. Everybody should love pointers more.
that- Right. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but
Generating pointer code, not fun though.
Yeah, so it generates in all three languages, and should be pretty useful for people. The main thing now is, I mean, once we get the testing running, let me look through the rest of your comments.
How does this work with
How do I end the screen share?
I'm ending it for you. How does this work with if we change the name of operations in the future and people are using generated code and want to regenerate their code, how does that affect it?
Not well.
Well,
Okay.
actually, all it should do is change the name of the operation because all the oh wait, no, because the template looks for the
Yeah.
So are we basically saying like you can generate your code once, but like if you regenerate it, you may or may not shoot yourself in the foot with future releases?
If you're using a future release of grip, it may change, but only if we're changing an operation name, which already would be a breaking change in grip.
So is that no? It's not a breaking change in grip.
Change the name of an operation.
It's not a breaking change. You alias it. So we have this in grip. We have this functionality of being able to alias a name, basically saying this is an old name for this operation,
Okay.
and if you see this, it means this.
Yeah, so I mean,
That would cause issues.
Yes. So are we how committed are we to preserving backwards compatibility of generated code in grip? Or is it like are we like do we
I think we're a little less concerned with it.
Brad?
What's the subject?
Concern with backwards compatibility of generated code.
Between different versions of the generated code?
Between different versions of grip.
So
that we publish.
let's say in grip you change an operation name in grip itself. Do you want the generated code to then generate code with the old name or the new name? I think the new name
The new
makes
name.
sense.
Right, so that'll break existing. If somebody has a generated file and they
Well, it
use it,
depends what they're doing. If all they're doing is getting the output at the
They'll
end of the
break it.
pipeline, then
it'll break it.
why?
If the operation that they're getting the
So-
output for is the one that changed,
We
because
put-
the name
Yeah,
is based
yeah,
on
but if
it'll
it's,
be a simple fix.
Yeah, it won't break it badly. It'll just mean that they have to change the name to something else. which
yes,
is-
if they're getting it, but if they're getting it from the tail end, then it doesn't matter. I mean,
Only if the operation, it'll only matter if the operation they're getting the output from
is the one that's
is the
changed.
one that was changed.
but I mean, what if they change the algorithm? And so they don't have it. The operation goes away because they don't need it anymore. Or they make some operation into two operations or anything. And how, that breaks compatibility too.
That's why I'm asking these questions.
So
Yeah,
how can you possibly have compatibility with changing code?
Yes. Okay. All right. So we're not concerned really with making sure that if we generate code, if we have X pipeline in old version of grip and we have same pipeline in new version of grip, the code generator spits out different code. We're not.
But the place, as long as you can, the methods you use to supply the images and to get the output are the same.
They won't.
They won't be. So I can wait. Let me just. So with getting the outputs to make it clear for the user,
Mhm.
we have the operation name in. So you get a desaturate output 0.
Yeah.
And if we change the name, let's say it's like filter contours. That's your last name. So you like your filter contours output 0, and that gets you your filter contours output. Let's say we change the name of filter contours to like simple filter contours, which is something we.
Just for example.
For example.
You change the name of the operation.
And we change the name of the operation, then when they run their code, they'll have to then change. It'll break.
In the robot code, they'll have to change.
Yeah.
They'll have to change it to simple, which I think makes sense.
Because it definitely makes sense because if you change, presumably you're changing the parameters and stuff which are available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're changing the way the thing works.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's unreasonable to do that.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it might be nice to have some way of getting the answers that are operation independent. And just, you know what I mean? And say, well, we're gonna tag this value and get, and have this value and we're gonna call it Fred. And we're gonna have this other value and call it,
We can do like
something else. And then you say, give me Fred. And then whatever you do inside the thing doesn't matter, however you change it, because you just always, right?
Would it make sense to have just
You know what I mean?
always have a get last output that just gets the last output of the pipeline?
Not necessarily, because
You may want some intermediate outputs.
well,
No, we still
get
we
them,
have all
but-
the intermediate ones.
so the thing is, if your last operation is a get map info,
Oh,
How do you know which?
Yeah,
which
you're right.
ones do you care about?
So I would say that maybe as a future feature, after this goes out, that maybe it would be nice to be able to tag values and then just retrieve the values by tag. And then any way you want to compute them inside the pipeline doesn't matter. And whatever operation they happen to come out on doesn't matter. But or something like that. It makes it completely operation independent. But for the time being, they're pulling values out of operations, and if the operations change, you wouldn't expect their code would keep working.
Okay. Next question. What is our expectation around new operations being added? Are we expecting that anybody who adds a new operation to GRIP is expected to also add the code generation for those operations?
so we already have unsupported operations.
Yep.
Like the network tables and stuff like that. So having more unsupported operations is not necessarily.
You're not going to support ROMs.
Yeah, we're not going to support ROS.
Network
and,
tables, ROS, and
uh,
whatever the other output option is, HTTP.
HTTP, yeah, fair.
the hope
Those
is
are supported.
Yeah, those are fine though, because if you're already
Yeah.
building a pipeline, they can choose to do that later.
so the hope is that people will, if they know how to do it, they'll do it. If they don't, then hopefully we can help them.
So, does it show? Can we have it throw up a warning saying, "Hey, your pipeline before you start running the tool, right? Can it look at all the operations and say, "Hey, you've got an unsupported operation here. We will do you want to proceed with code generation?"
That would be a nice way to do it actually.
That would be better than what it currently does.
Currently
which is
just throws an error.
It basically pulls up an error window saying, there's an unsupported operation, you can't do this.
Oh yeah.
It lists which operation is the problem though.
Oh yeah. So what you should probably do is when you do code generation, you should do the drop down and you should say, "Hey, you've got unsupported operations. We can still generate code, but not for operation," and then list out the operations.
It's just we can't actually generate code for the rest of it.
Why
Because
not?
all that's inside Velocity, and Velocity doesn't really do.
Well, we could actually, so Velocity uses the T pipelines and stuff, and we could actually modify our T pipeline to just remove those steps that we don't.
What if
It
you
would be a
do?
little.
What if you did it the other way around, where you well, the steps that you're getting, right? You put in a bunch of steps, right? But you know whether or not you support a step early.
Well, we only know whether or not we support it based on whether there's a template for it.
Yeah. So as you're booting the whole thing,
Yeah, so when we put them all in the T pipeline at the beginning, we can just say if this step is not, if we don't have a template for this step, we just don't put this in our
and then send the information. You got to send the information back to the UI in some way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they can send the information back to the UI with their error box. Just add another button that's like continue with code generation or cancel.
Well,
Instead
that's the same error box that's used everywhere. We have
of
encountered
the
that
exception.
error.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
Maybe they're different behavior
maybe
than that.
do a different box.
Yeah. You need a different behavior than that.
Yeah, that would
I
be
mean, it can just be a.
Yeah, that
they
should not happen. You should not get the here's the stack trace, paste this into GitHub one, because I don't want to get people saying, "Hey, this operation doesn't work." I'll be like, "Well, yeah, that's not a supported operation. Sorry."
I mean, you can just throw a pop-up instead of throwing an exception.
I would throw the.
So you throw the pop-up as soon as you press the button before you can select it.
Yes.
We'd have to change the order in which we're doing stuff because currently it doesn't generate the pipeline and such until after you can.
I mean,
Well, can you plug the stuff? Can you?
for that
can you-
pipeline, we could just do like a cursory, just look at each of the step names. And if the step names are not something we have a template name.
Well,
So,
at that point, you're still in Java, so you can look at the.
Well, so what if you do the generation? What if you generate the T pipeline,
Yeah.
right? if you generate the T pipeline, or you generate T steps, right?
That's part of the T pipeline.
So create the T steps as they throw exceptions.
Okay.
Put those into a hi. We're in a meeting. Welcome to the Hangouts on Air thing. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask, when do you think you'll use the Turbot?
After this.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you here?
Somebody else wanted to use it too. I'm just going to pull out a second one.
Okay. Cool.
Also, don't you have to leave, Toby?
115.
Okay. So so what was I saying? Oh, okay. So if you create the T steps, right, and then you'll accrue the exceptions of like this one fails, 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 right?
Right.
Then after you've accrued all those together, you take the ones that you do get, the T steps, put those into the T pipeline.
Right. The problem is the T steps, the creation method is inside the T pipeline.
Do backwards that. You should not be constructing objects with it. You should try to like move that. Flip the dependencies on that. Does that make sense?
So it's more of the T pipeline's constructor is passed a list of grip steps.
Yeah.
And then from there, it converts all of those into steps it wants by calling the constructor for
Yeah.
the T step on each step individually.
Yes. There's this whole idea in Java where you want to have constructors do no work. So try to move the logic of constructing. So constructors should only do assignment. They should not be doing additional work. And it also is part of the idea of inverting your dependencies. So move that out of that, or use a static create method. And then your constructors really should do no work. They should just be assigning the inputs to the constructors into member variables. Make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Still not a particularly great priority at the moment.
Well, this is why, because of how this flow works currently, it means that you're trying to decouple the creation of your T steps so that you know which T steps fail, right?
Right.
So if you can
But we would still have to do that much sooner than where it's currently being done.
yes, which is what I'm saying.
That's what he wants.
That's what I want you to do. So, cool.
Yeah, I think so.
How long? What's the timeline on that?
So we have classes now. But what do you think? Do you want to? Which stuff do you want to work on? Which stuff should I work on?
Well, what needs to be done first is the question.
Okay, so things that need to be done.
Alright, I need to work with Brad on getting
So-
Windows and Mac OS
Yeah,
on there.
that's number one priority.
Yeah, and Linux, we
Um,
still have to go.
So that's test. So testing is. Can you guys create issues with what you need to get done left? Can you create issues in grep to say these are the things we need to have done left on for code generation so that we can keep track of that stuff?
Just edit the main post at the top
Sure,
of the
whatever.
checkbox.
That works too.
I probably can do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll let you do that. Yeah, so the main thing is that then the
Yeah,
other
I'll take notes so you can focus.
resource. What's a resource plug?
what?
A resource plug. You said a couple times in your comments to use resource.
Oh, use try with
Try with
resource.
resource plus.
So
Try
instead
with-
of doing like
Yeah.
some writer.close, it does it for you.
Yes.
It's
You can-
basically
anything-
the same way as a try, but you have, I believe, open parenthesis, your resource, close parenthesis at the end of the try.
So Google,
Okay,
just
yeah,
Google
I'll-
try with resource. They're a Java 7 feature.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
it's,
we've got them in a couple places, just not
Yes.
everywhere.
yes.
Okay.
You can put it in your.
Should probably take that comment.
The mutable stuff is for Java.
Wait a minute, what? How can you modify my comment?
Also add checkboxes.
So I would say
No, not you, not there. Add checkboxes to this comment. To the.
These are
Those are bullets. I need a space between them, I think.
Okay, stop getting distracted, us. Okay, deal with that.
okay.
like that.
Yeah. The another thing is pulling all of the basically comment descriptions,
Yeah.
operation descriptions into the sockets.
Yes.
I don't know if that's something we should do before it gets running.
That's probably not
Because that's more of a
important
back end thing
enough
than a front end thing.
to
Yeah.
do.
For the beta testers, I
right
don't
now.
notice that's so.
Yeah. I just want to make it easier for somebody else to add more.
I agree. Completely.
Wait, so, okay, I'm curious. Do you have, so these T objects,
Yeah.
you're just pumping them at velocity, and then are you having velocity templates call Java methods?
To a certain
Java
extent, a few
methods
different
are called,
methods.
yeah.
Mostly those are in the template methods, the methods that are called. The
So those are a lot of language-specific things that are in each language's template.
Yeah.
That would be more of a pain to be done in Velocity. So we're like, Velocity can call Java. We're going to do these in Java.
Okay. So wait, so the templates do make method calls to the Java code.
Yes,
Okay.
in a couple of places,
Okay.
which is a little bit annoying to look at in
Velocity.
an IDE because it tells you that stuff's not being used.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that it
Yeah,
claims
if
are
you
not
got
used. but are
IntelliJ
used.
Ultimate, you would see that. It ties in. IntelliJ Ultimate works with Velocity templates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's free for 30 days. You want in on this?
It's free for 30.
You get it for free for 30 days, but I can also get licenses for this open source project. Do you want a license for IntelliJ Ultimate?
Yeah.
Probably isn't what we need to discuss.
It's not, but
Anyways,
yes.
I don't think it helps anything anyway.
Well, it does for some people
Well,
as
for
well.
velocity.
For velocity, it might actually make your life easier.
Yeah, that could actually be a big help.
We do want to finish this meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Other things to do.
Yeah.
Other things that need to get discussed. So you guys are getting a testing working on AppBear Travis.
Oh, the thing we were just discussing, so putting better error message for unsupported operations.
Yes.
Um,
Error, or yeah, sure, whatever. Priority on this one, testing is priority. Try the resource blocks is not as not as high a priority. Put socket hint
I mean, that
description.
one's really.
It's a lot of code to move around now.
The driver resource.
Oh, no, well, that actually is not.
That's
Put the other one, put that one third.
I'll do that.
The last one's just gonna take time.
Yeah, that one I can do, but not really time before that happens. Better warning. So do you want to do? So you're doing the testing one, right?
Right.
Do you want me to just do the better warning for unsupported ops?
That's probably a good one to do next. Yeah.
Right. So I'll work on that while you work on the first one, and then the other two will. I'll do the third one as well.
And then the fourth one is also not particularly necessary right now, so we'll probably see who finishes first in this time.
All right. Sounds good. Cool. I have to go.
Did you go?
Hopefully we
Make
can.
sure you leave the Hangouts so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not sort of.
That would be good.
Oh, okay, okay.
Here drops. Okay.
Problem solved.
Wait, it's.
Do you have anything else? What do you? What?
Do I have anything else?
Do you have anything else?
I have other things. Do I have other things that relate to this? I do not know.
Okay. All right. You're good.
I think I'm good. So are we?
What time? What
Wait,
time?
wait, wait,
What are we
wait.
finishing up by?
Yeah.
So, I would say is a.
Okay, so here just a little bit of background. I'd like to do a release today, like whatever we have, like not with code generation, without code generation, doesn't matter. I'd like to do a release today because people are complaining that the Linux builds don't work. So I'd like to just push a release so we have builds that work on every platform.
That should
And-
take like
and then-
10 seconds, and I can just do that.
Yeah, I know, that's
I
fine.
would go with
Um,
not a chance.
What do you-
That would be ready for today.
No, I know, but I'm saying like I'd like to push a release today.
Can we do a week from tomorrow?
And then we can push another release a week from tomorrow.
What do you wanna do for a week from now?
Push Dogen.
Okay, does everybody agree that that's reasonable and there'll be enough stuff in it?
Well,
You won't be complaining?
well, I mean, if it's done,
If we do those
These four things and
the first 3 of those 4 things.
yeah, sure. I mean,
If that's the case, I'm gonna move this into a new issue
well, no.
when we're done,
All right.
when we merge it.
Strongly object to someone else modifying my comment.
That's okay.
Emotionally. Okay, Brett. What other features are we trying to get into this? So are we gonna try to release right now?
I'd like to.
I'd like
you to take a
Should
look
we
at
put
our
in
table
split
sources.
filter contours? You want me to fix that
Yeah,
What?
just add an alias.
as an alias? Okay, I'll figure that out as well.
Are
I
you,
think it's
if
just
you
add
do that
stream alias.
today, then,
Okay.
you have stuff to do? Okay. So
You mean
we'll just get it in
grip
next
is
week.
not your entire life?
No.
We can do it next
Wait
week.
a minute, it's on your GitHub branch, right?
Yeah. Does someone want to just like?
Cause I have pushed permission onto your GitHub branch.
I can just overtake it, or he can.
You guys can figure it out right now.
It's just
Yeah.
an extra alias, it shouldn't be too
No, it's not extra email.
It's in,
It's
it's
a
part of the
operation
socket
description. What?
It's just an alias to the builder of the
Yeah.
operation.
So just put that in and we can get that merged.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Sounds good.
See you guys.
See you.
Okay.
Oh, no, I'll take quick demo if that happens.
What?
That'll be minor.
Okay.
What else we need to discuss here while we're here? Is there anything else we need to discuss here?
Well, I mean, if we want to talk about network table source, then we can end the broadcast. And then do
Network
that.
table source is a bad idea. I'm kidding. Shot to the but
But actually, it didn't take too long. It was just like
Yeah.
making testing work. For the magic.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, what am I trying to do? It's not showing up.
And you have to.
No. Do I want to end it?
Okay, we can just talk about network table source. I think
There we
it's
go.
good to go.
Now it's.
I think it's good to go. Do you think it's good to go?
I have not looked at it. Oh,
Okay.
so you fixed it?
Yeah. Well, you fixed it, and I.
Did I? Okay, so that's the network tables one. Hang on, let me look at it really quickly. Sam, talk about Sam. You should Sam. Goddamn, why are you at a wedding? What do you think is network tables INI files?
Those are the server files.
Would?
When you start a network table servers, it generates. When you start a network tables server, it generates those files in
Okay.
the directory. So.
All right. Are there any other meeting related things? Do you have any questions, Brad? Do you have any questions?
I do not.
Do you have any comments, questions, concerns, prayer requests? No, that's my pastor.
I mean, I don't. Remember, I'm the innocent freshman.
You're the innocent freshman who's been involved, yeah, and actually kind of understands dependency injection. Let's see.
You're
So
not innocent.
no, yeah, innocent, yeah.
Brad hasn't taken me flying, so
Yeah, right.
I'm innocent.
Yeah. So are we going? So we're gonna ship a release tonight, and then we're gonna move forward with that. Okay. Chill. Let's close it out. Thank you for watching. All right. Have a good night.